Okay, we'll go to Kyra.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi. Hi, Tad. It's Kira, by the way.
Yeah, I don't
First of
think-
all, yeah, it's spelled wrong. So, thank you for all the information you put out for all of us because it's so great. And I've gone through so much of it. And yet, I'm still really struggling with my niche.
Sure.
I don't know if I can ask you about that on here. Okay, so I'm switching. I've been a yoga teacher for the last 20 years and been wanting to work with people individually for a long time beyond yoga, more getting to the core of what I was really doing with them. And so I went through a life coaching program and I want to meld them together and sort of get rid of more of the yoga stuff just because most of my life I've been in personal growth and really interested, just struggled with depression a lot throughout my life and been, so interested and very involved in meditation and mindfulness for the last 20 years and just working with a teacher that helped me, like the way just her lens through she sees everything has changed how I see myself in the world. And I just want to share that, but it seems like it's applicable to anyone. And so I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where to go with that.
Okay, yeah. So you have a kind of philosophy and approach, a set of tools that could just help so many people with so many things that but you feel stymied about, right? So where do you
Yeah.
focus?
Yeah.
Of course, the niche conversation is bigger than we can probably resolve. But did you say you struggled with depression? Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't like I never did meds. I never went to therapy. I just instead I like and just immersed myself in all these different practices and I found a lot of help that way. And so I feel like I can't head that way. It feels too scary to delve into that.
To delve into depression? Now, is
Yeah,
it
like
what's scary? What's the nightmare that you have about that?
that I'm going to get people who are not functioning and like it feels, I don't know, like it, I don't, it feels like I'm going to get into some touchy ground that I don't want to get into.
Okay, I've got two exercises for you that may help. Now, first of all, if you go to, and for everyone struggling with your niche, which is if you're struggling, you're just completely not alone. Everybody struggles with this. This is just almost all the one-on-one work I do, the puttering sessions. It's almost all niching. So there's that. If you go to marketingforhippies.com/puttering prep. So
Yeah, I've
that's the
done
URL.
those.
Okay. So the thing to do is I would take depression because that's something you have personal experience with. And there's two
Yeah.
exercises to do. One is the 3 columns exercise, where it's just when is it too soon? When is it too late? And when's the perfect moment for me to show up in the life of somebody who has depression, for example? And the second one is you take a piece of paper, divide it down the middle, and you put want on one side and don't want on the other. And on the want side, it's what's the role that you want to play with these people? On the other side, what's the role you don't want to play with these people?
Okay.
Yeah. And then also, a third, I guess, exercise might be if you were to work with somebody with depression, what are the prerequisites that would be in place? Like for me to work with you, this kind of fits under the perfect moment in a way. But it's like, I need to know you're seeing a therapist because this isn't therapy. I need to know you're not actively wanting to harm yourself. I need to, there may be some certain things where it's like that's either too soon or too late. But things like if these are things are in play, and I would just sit with because maybe there isn't anything, but it's worth sitting with like, are there certain moments in the journey of depression? Are there certain prerequisites that could be in place? And if it was clear that I was only playing a certain role, is there a way that this could actually feel really good to me?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we think, oh, I don't want to work with people with depression, as if we have to say yes to every depressed person who shows up. But we can actually filter very heavily and say, no, this is not for everyone with depression. This is for this specific type of person in this specific moment. And if that's you, here's how I can help. How does that land for you?
It feels a lot better. I mean, I definitely feel like there have been people who've come to me specifically because I wrote in my bio that I've struggled with depression. And I have a lot to share with them because of that. And, but I have a lot of fear around, like, I don't know, getting sued, or that people are going to, you know, like, really, that I'm going to be in charge of someone's who's deeply wounded somehow. Like, that hasn't been my experience with depression. It's more this underlying sort of heaviness. So I find ways to lighten up life, you know? So I call it depression, but maybe it's not really depression in the more, you know, I don't know.
You've got it. You've got it. So, I mean, I would just articulate that on the homepage.
Yeah.
With, like, you're depressed, and sometimes you wonder whether to even call it depression. You just feel heavy sometimes, life feels kind of gray, um, you know, and you're not actively wanting to harm yourself, but you just know that life feels heavier than you wish it did, or
Yeah.
etc. So you just, when we think about niching, and niching is more, it's a kind of a bullseye situation.
Mhm.
Yeah. And what you want to do in all of your, well, I'm not going to tell you what you want, but what you might find helpful is in the sales materials to write for the bullseye. That's the only person you write for. So you think about, who do I want to work with, let's say, on this depression thing, and what's the moment they're in, and you just like, who would be just the exact ideal client. That's who you write to. That's who you're writing for.
Okay.
And then somebody might be one or two rings out of that. It's like, well, it's more anxiety for me, but could I help? And then you can be explicit or you can be exclusive. It's up to you. You might say, no, 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 I only do the depression thing. I don't work on the anxiety front. Or you might say, yeah, that's fine. And you get to determine how many rings out is still somebody you actually can or want to help. But so in that puttering prep, the exercises, there's the writing the ideal client, the homepage
Yeah.
exercise. So I would actually try all those exercises again, focused on depression, with the additional exercise of what is the role that I want to play, because that can be stated extremely clearly in a sales letter. Suppose particularly in a sales letter, like, let's just be clear. This is my function in your life. My function is not, like, I'm not your best friend. I'm not your therapist. I'm not the person you text at 3 a.m. I'm not, here's all the roles I'm not playing. I'm not your family. I'm not, but here's the role I do play, and as long as we're clear, I'm so happy to work with you.
Yeah, that's super helpful. I still feel really nervous about that. Like, I know I'm staying clear, but another part of me
Yeah,
feels like it's authentic. It's much more authentic to me, and that I have something to share in that area. Um,
I imagine you do. Yeah. It's, I, I would let yourself be terrified for now. Don't worry about that. Just write it. Just
okay.
write the homepage. And once you're done, when you've done it, let it sit for a week. Don't do anything. Don't worry
Okay.
about it, and then go look at it again. And then you try like a little beta test. So what that can look like in a case like this is you make a Facebook post, or you send an email to your friends and family, the people who know you and love you, and say, as you know, I did the yoga thing, I did this coaching thing. And, a lot of I struggle with, depression, and that's, been a thread in my life. And I'm realizing I'd like to help people who struggle in the same way. And I'm not convinced, actually. I'm a little nervous about it, though I know I've got a lot to say. So I'm accepting 10 clients, and it's at a discount, or it's a group program or something. So you could do something very small, limited number of clients, or if it's a group program, limited number of weeks, um, that type of thing. And so then you can just try it and see at the end, like, how did that feel? Because you'll probably fuck it up. You'll learn things the first round, like, okay, I got to really clarify this role, that I didn't add that, or oh man, people assumed I'm this. And so you can learn a lot, and then at the end it's like, did I learn enough that I could actually um, make this work? Or sometimes the lesson at the end of it is like, no, it's not going to work. That's what I learned. But
Mhm.
often I find, once you do it once, initially you'll feel a little shaky afterwards, because it's vulnerable, because it's new, because you're going to be so aware of how you screwed up. You're going to be so aware of what didn't work. That'll be front of mind. But on the other side of then saying, okay, I'm going to go to school on that. What could I improve? What could I change? How could I change the sales letter? How could I change the process? On the other side of that, then you'll know for sure. Because you may at the end of that say, no, even with all my bright ideas, it's still not a fit. Or you might actually feel 10 times more excited, which I find is often the case. So those are my
Okay.
thoughts for you.
Yeah, that's super helpful. This is my just last little question. I am currently, I just sort of put it out in a much more general way to like my yoga students, like, hey, I'm working with people one-on-one. I just, from this approach, which I just sort of explained, and they know a bit about my background. And I was hoping that by just getting more experience working with people, that like the niche would come out of that a little bit more naturally.
Yeah, it can. I mean, it's always good to pay attention to who's showing up, to how you respond to different clients. So I would
Yeah.
say also keep doing that. And this
Okay.
may be something to begin with.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Great ideas. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.